The Fat channel in Studio One is probably one of my favorite plugins that they offer because of the versatility of different compressors and EQs, things of that nature. So let's hop into that and let's talk about one of my favorite compressors that's inside the Fat channel, the FET compressor. Before we hop into this tune, everything you're going to see here is my Studio One mix template. So if you use PreSonus Studio One and you're looking to simplify your process when it comes to your mixing and staying organized and just getting focused on the mix itself, go to floodwaterstudios.com/template, grab your free copy with all the instructions that you need to get everything set up and start taking control of your mixes today. Looking at some of these features here, obviously we have the input, the output, attack and release, and then we have our ratios here, which standard 4:1, 8:1, 12:1, 20:1. Up here we're kind of getting into the limiting side of things, and then it's got the lovely trick that the standard outboard gear unit has too, the all feature, slamming everything. But let's listen to why I love this so much. And we're going to listen to a snare drum real quickly. And if you're interested in what the entire song sounds like, let's grab some headphones real quick and we can listen to the intro. So a little bit on the pop punk side of things, but just a lot of fun in general too. But let's listen to the snare drum here. Now with pop punk, the snare needs to be snappy. It needs to be brighter than normal for a lot of songs that I tend to work on and the style that I like to record and produce here. So I have my snare top and my snare bottom going into a bus for the snare itself, so that way we can process it together. So here, let's listen to just the snare, and we will get kind of an idea of how this snare is sounding, and then we'll hop in with the FET compressor and kind of make it sound better and make some decisions along the way also. So this is just the dry snare. So that's going to sound good there. And then let's process here with the FET. So let's go ahead and turn this on. Now I've dialed this in a little bit here to my liking for things, bringing the input gain up just a little bit, but then the output is really more of a threshold knob. So that's going to allow us to dial back how much or how little compression is happening. So you can see moving that output knob up, it's lessening the compression that's actually happening for everything, making it much louder, sure, but it's also losing the characteristic of that really tight snare that we're looking for. So bringing that back down a little bit, that gives us less of just the openness of everything and more of that compressed sound. Now, here is what we want to focus on too, because we want to look at the attack time, how quickly the compressor's grabbing that snare, and then we want to look at the release, how fast or slow is it going to release the compression to bring the actual tail end of that snare hit back in. So attack time, I like to go pretty aggressive because I want it to grab it right away. And then the release time, this is where things get interesting because the release is almost like a tone knob. So let's demonstrate that just so you can hear what I'm talking about. So we're going to take this release and we're going to make it a little short here. So you can hear it's very squished with the compressor and it's not really letting go of that. So the actual tonality is very tight, very compressed. Let's start rolling that off a little bit and see what it sounds like then. So So you can see as we took the release and made it super fast, it's now opening up the tail after the transient. So the actual snare hit, instead of ba, ba, you can hear the actual tail coming through for everything. And as we start to roll that off for the release, we make the release longer, we're getting more of a direct impact for the entire sound. So then if we listen to it in context with the drum set itself, then we can start to hear a little bit more with it also. So right around here, and it doesn't show the exact numbers, so this is 50 milliseconds. So I would assume maybe 75 milliseconds, somewhere around in there. Going into it could be 60. It doesn't give you an exact number, but coming around here to this second notch, to me, in context of this song with the drum kit, sounds pretty good. And, you know, we can, like I said, we can mess with things in here, maybe take it up to an 8-to-1 ratio. Which isn't giving us a ton of difference for everything in that regard. But if we slam everything here, we can actually take that input, jack it all the way up, and then bring the output down a little bit, and we can start to hear some more distorted tones that can come through, which, especially on snare drum, can be really cool. So it's giving it those overtones and that distortion that snare drum really can latch onto, and it can make it sound great in the mix. In this context, I think everything is sounding really good, especially with the rest of the mix. And this is why I love the FET compressor, specifically on snare drum. On track, here we go again. I drop my bags, I'm ready to begin. Every voice in my head's telling me. So what kind of application do you normally use a FET style compressor for? Specifically inside Studio One with the FAT channel. Again, I personally love it on the snare drum. It starts to give us those overtones and that saturation quality without having to use another plugin like red light distortion or some other sort of saturation plugin, which is great, but if you can do it all in kind of one-stop shop, just helps everything out. Processing on your PC, your brain capacity, everything. It just makes it so much better. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments. How do you use the FET style compressor? And again, if you haven't gotten it already, head to floodwaterstudios.com/template to grab your copy of the Studio One mix template and take control of your mixes today. We'll catch you on the next one. Now, go record something. See ya.